You're listening to the Game Tenants Podcast.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Game Tenants Podcast, the failed adventures of two gamers and their quest for Gamecast stardom. This is episode 45, and I'm one of your hosts, Church of the Game Grinder, and as always, joined by my excellent co-host,
Jason from Corpuseville Gaming. What's up?
How is it going? First episode of 2018.
It's a biggin'.
Yes, we're trying to spice things up and add the next level of professionalism by adding these little banners, as you see down at the bottom.
Name bars.
We are a professional podcast here.
Yeah, people are going to ask if we work here now because we've got a name tag on it.
Yeah, so with that said, let's just jump right into some community comments from the last episode. Of course, for any new listeners, we read over the comments from previous episodes on the YouTube posting and just do some quick little back and forth here. So, last episode, got a comment from Smash JT. He says, awesome podcast, fellas. Glad to see Chris on here. We had Chris, the old last retro gamer, on the last episode.
Good times.
He said that I convinced him to get Hollow Knight. It's on his short list of games he has to play in 2018, and I totally agree with that.
Good to hear. When it comes out on Switch, I'll be trying it too.
Yes. And he says he thinks Zelda is a deserving winner. He thinks Zelda is the best deserving winner for Game of the Year personally, but yeah, it's a flawed system, and for that reason, I really can't stand award shows. And we're just kind of talking about how they pick winners and popularity contests and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then he says there... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, at least it wasn't like a total, it's like a huge franchise already, so it almost had a leg up.
Yeah.
But at least it wasn't, like a total bullshit one.
It wasn't PUBG.
Call it, or PUBG or Call of Duty or something.
Yeah. Then he says there's no way that all of the voters play every single game worth playing this year to be able to make a fully informed decision. Movies are easier because they're about only 2 hours usually. These games sometimes take 100 hours. No one has this kind of time, even if all they do is play games all day, every single day. And I can mostly agree with that. I know some of the journalists that do it for a living, they tend to be able to play a lot more, but I don't believe they're able to play every single game either. So very true.
Even if it was just one platform, that would be a challenge.
Yeah, for sure.
Let alone spread out across everything, especially with PC included. That would be an impossible task. Like a team of people, even for the same website, would have a challenge there.
Yeah, for sure. Then we got some comments from Black Metal Gamer. First one, he says, we need a CDI Mini with a flip-top screen for portability so he can get his Flowers of Robert Mapplethorpe on the go. It can be the size of a standard laptop.
Oh, yeah.
And, honestly, at some point, I do want a CDI in my collection, mainly for those crappy Zelda and Mario games on there, just for the novelty. But I'm not going to pay any sort of premium for those.
Burn them.
For sure. Yeah. Or something. And he also says he's very hyped for Switch game surprises of 2018. It surprised him in 2017 when it launched. He laughed at it and then became a fan and bought one in November. They have been consistently releasing a major game every month with plenty of good physical indies in between. And he says, yes, he favors physical if easy to obtain. He only digital if 50% or more cheaper.
Yeah, that's what kind of when they were coming out with that. I remember last gen when they were coming out with the PS3 and 360, they were saying if it's going to be digital at first, they were kind of saying, oh, it'll be like, sort of won't be as costly. Well, they meant for them. They didn't mean like the games will cost less right out of the gate, which is what I took from when I read the article. I'm like, oh, cool. So like a new game will be like $50, and you buy it physical, it's $10 more or so, just for pay for the materials.
Right.
But then it ended up being exactly the same. I was like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
So like, I mean, if you're paying the same price, it might as well be something you can hold in your hand.
For sure. And then related to that, he also said, how about that Bayonetta 3 announcement, though? Pretty good announcement.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's far past the point of me being salty because now they're on to Bayonetta 3. But I'm still salty of the fact that they did Nintendo got Bayonetta 2 when Bayonetta 3 was on the PlayStation.
One. Bayonetta 1 was.
Yeah.
As far as the Switch thing goes, I think they even surprised their own fanboys in there. Like, It's been a really good launch for a system. Like, usually any system launch with a couple good games. The months is just kind of them trying to get some traction, get a couple of games out, and you're just like, by the end of the first year, you got maybe like 5 games for the system. And Nintendo is like, it's almost, especially including the eShop, it's like a barrage. You're like, what should I buy?
Right.
And all that, like, let's hope they keep it up. I didn't really make fun of the Switch when it was coming out, but I definitely remember ripping on the Wii U. When I first saw it, I was like, whoa, it's like a regular Wii, but it comes with a Sega Game Gear. Awesome. And then I played it at like a Target or something. I was like, I am so sorry. I now need to buy one of these. And I only dicked around with it for like 5 minutes, and I was just, I just pictured this tablet being so cumbersome and heavy, and it's actually super comfy to play with. Like, there's only a few games I prefer a regular controller for it, and that pretty much translates right to the Switch. Like, it's actually, I find it not even as comfy to hold as the Wii U tablet, but not a big gripe. But
sure.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with that being an awesome launch for them.
Yeah, they've done pretty well, I would say. And then I had one more comment that I just lost from BMG. He said, "Great episode, homies. I know you guys buy limited run games to play and not to mantle in some frame graded gaming art gallery."
Oh yes,
True that.
Every game I buy goes behind 4-inch glass to never be touched again by human hands.
Yeah, and that was in regards to the kind of usual limited run discussions and controversy involved with that. I know some people just collect. Yeah, it definitely happens, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
we buy to play, even if it might be years till we get to them.
I intend to play this.
Yes, fully intend. And I think, honestly, I think anybody who's like a quote unquote collector deals with the same issue. As we generally take in more than we can play,
except for a sealed collector, because they're just literally buying it to go, look at that, I've got that same game you have, except I've never experienced it because it's still there. With the plastic on it.
I don't want to assume too much when it comes to those people, but I'm still very skeptical about sealed collectors being people who aren't just going to turn around and sell all their stuff off in some point when it starts to like dip, when like the bubble finally bursts or something. I don't know. I'm very, very skeptical about sealed collectors. I mean, I have sealed games myself, but like only games.
Have another copy of it.
Only games I really have that I intend to keep sealed, because I have the digital versions of all the games, as well as my Shantae collection. So
yeah, well, you played those, Ellie. Like anyone who's listening to this knows that you play those. So no one's gonna be like, friggin' Shantae poser.
Right. Doesn't even open his games.
I mean, that's like buying. I mean, a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of sealed collectors usually go like, I got one that's sealed and I've got one that I play.
Yeah.
So I'm not like that's not a total dig at them, but I'm just saying I never got the obsession with that.
And that's the the funny thing with that too is with the Super Mario cereal, a lot of people, were buying multiple boxes,
Case.
and they'd be like, "Well, I got one to keep, one to eat, one to
Scalp and make my money back for all three."
yeah, kind of things." And related to that, I went and got groceries earlier this week, and my grocery store happened to have like cases of the Super Mario cereal. So I bought a few boxes. They were there. I was like, what the hell? I'll just grab them. Didn't go out of my way. I never went to a store with the sole intention of finding that stuff. I got one for me, got one for Jason. I got one for some other friend who wants one. And my cat is licking itself in the background.
Well, I didn't see that. I just see the tail. So it was rated G.
Yeah.
It's not going to go uneaten at my house because as soon as my kids see that cereal, they'll be like, "Why would?" If I even intended to keep it sealed, they'd be like, "But why? It's cereal, Dad. Eat it."
Yeah.
And they would just call me out on my shit immediately, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I'll eat it. I'll eat it, and I'll keep the box." But
yeah,
what are you gonna like? Really? That's one thing doesn't age well for sure. I'm not gonna unless you're one of those channels that like buys like really, like the guy that drank the 20-year-old Crystal Pepsi and, oh man, I'm gonna eat that. And they'll be like 20, 40, and you're like, I'm gonna eat some Super Mario cereal from back when Super Mario Odyssey came out.
I don't know if you're talking about Ashens. He does a lot of reviews of like really old things, and he's done various episodes where he had this like, here's this 20-year-old can of canned Thanksgiving dinner, and you'll try it. It's almost always awful. It's not like those goofy channels where they'll eat the stuff and then like show them vomiting. Like he's a very like straightforward, like grounded channel. It's not like goofy or anything. He's just doing it for like, hey, just let you know my thoughts. Like he doesn't even show himself on camera. It's usually he has it focused on his couch and you see his hands in the product.
Okay. The one I'm talking about is definitely the vomiting.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, I think
I saw that.
I'm not sure who it was, but I think it's a guy called the LA Beast.
Yeah.
I think he drinks
Something
all
like
types of, where he just drinks a thing real fast and then gets sick. Like I'm like, pretty sure like anything you drink that fast is gonna make you at least some sort of sick.
Right.
I'm gonna drink a liter of water, turbo fast. Yeah. Oh man, my stomach doesn't feel good. I wonder why.
There was actually. Trying not to go too off topic here, but I can't remember. I think it might have been a local radio station here, but it might have been somewhere else. I just don't remember. But there's some like promotion some radio station was doing where they had a bunch of people drink like gallons of water the fastest, and somebody actually died. Like their body like just shut down, went into shock.
That'd be me. I'd be like 500 milliliters in like it's so I got
anyways, with that said, for anybody listening, we always appreciate your comments, not just comments on topics, but we appreciate your feedback, any thoughts you have, just let us know. Post on YouTube, you can post on social media, pretty much wherever. I will try to round up those comments.
Definitely.
Yeah,
we always like to respond and let you know what we think too, and especially the constructive criticism part. If there's a part you don't like, tell us.
Yes.
Maybe we'll stop doing it, or maybe we'll do it even longer despite you.
Maybe. Which definitely applies to the segue here of the everybody's favorite "What's Up" section of what we've been up to for the last few weeks here. So. Jason, what have you been up to in the last few weeks?
A lot of working again, which sucks, but a bit of gaming still. Not really any of my newer games yet, which kind of sucks. Just I'm done with Battlefront 2 for now. I unlocked all the characters, tried them all out, got my play in there. But I've been playing a lot more Switch because it's a lot easier to do when I'm home with the kids and stuff like that. The kids will play with me, or like I said before. That being said, I'm getting kind of a lot of Switch games now. I'm at about 14 games, so at least I got a lot to choose from. We've been playing a lot more Mario Odyssey. Still awesome. Kids have been playing Mario Kart a lot, but I've been trying to play games that I haven't played on it. I recently just got Axiom Verge Multiverse Edition for it, and I popped that in just to like update it, and then I ended up playing it for about 45 minutes, and I'm already hooked on it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And as the last episode when we did our favorite games from 2017, Chris actually picked that as one of his favorite games.
Yeah, so that was cool. Yeah, that kind of made me go and buy it. Actually, speaking of that, I also got Mora EX, which was, I think, his number 3 game of the year.
Yep.
And yeah, I haven't got to try it yet, but like I said, I just got it in the mail yesterday. I got that, Bomberman, and Axiom Verge, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I finally have got my entire basement and game room set up, dialed in, so there's going to be not really much of that at all. A couple shelves have to get put up just to hold all my consoles, but that's not hindering anything else going on, so that's not an excuse anymore. Like, there's nothing really sitting on the floor. There's nothing really. I'm not tripping over shit in here anymore, so it's going good. So I have officially started filming more YouTube stuff.
Yay!
I faltered a little bit, and I actually shut down stuff for a few days because I was just like so just
frustrated.
Yeah, just frustrated and disheartened with like never seeming to have time to get something done. And then in that frustration, I finished the rest of everything, and then just thought about it, and I was like, that's it. I'm doing it. I got to do it because it's something I love doing, and if I don't do it, I'm gonna just be bummed out about it. Just like gaming. Like if I don't get to do some gaming, I won't say I'm addicted, but it's my outlet. It's something I have to do. It's something I've always been passionate about, and it started YouTube as a hobby, and I've met a lot of cool friends too. Like that's how I met you. That's how I met a bunch of other cool people, and I just love the whole community of the YouTube groups that are heavy with the Facebook groups that are heavy with the YouTubers, because they just, I don't know, I seem to like them a lot better. We have more in common, not just because we do YouTube, but just similar views and not as much trolling. So that's a good thing too. So yeah, so I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna keep going with it. I'm just gonna commit more to it. And it's not been a laziness thing that I've been away from my YouTube channel so long, but it's been like I've got goals set before I felt like I needed to do YouTube. Like I wanted to update my computer, and I'm ordering the parts for my computer probably tomorrow. So that'll all be in place. And as of now, I'll just be doing kind of a lot of the same things that I've been doing. Araya and I filmed an episode earlier tonight of us unboxing one of our retro game treasures.
Awesome.
We have 3 more.
Cool.
So we'll catch up on that. As before we were a little bit behind, but now we're going to keep caught up on it. So it might be a little bit rapid fire catching up, but yeah, I kind of did a channel update thing. I think I'm happy with it. I'll probably put it out first ahead of everything, and then I'll just keep rolling. As I mentioned last time, I've got exactly a year of pickups to add to my Corpse Floods Game Floods, and yeah, I never remember all the stories and everything. Everything's kind of grouped together. I did put everything in with the, organized in the collection with the console it's at, but it's pretty much bricked together of what's new, so I shouldn't really miss anything. And I usually take pictures to document a pickup. Like if I go out of town, often I'll we update each other when we get pickups. We'll send them to each other. So it's a good thing I keep the conversations on Facebook, because I was able to go back after getting a new phone, I lost all my pictures, a lot of them anyway, like that. So it's definitely good to keep record. I'm glad that we keep each other updated on that kind of crap.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been about all I've been up to. I'm hopefully gonna be sitting down and like playing through a long game. I really want to get some PS4 played. I've got some newer VR games I really want to try out, namely Doom and even Skyrim. So I want to try those out. I don't want to commit to those because I'm still playing Nier Automata and Yakuza 6, or Yakuza 6, Yakuza 0. So those are my focal point. I don't want to lose track of those games or have them get lost in the shuffle because I was loving both of them. So that's what I got going on. What about you?
I have been pretty busy, I would say. Put up a couple videos since the last episode of the podcast. Definitely, I recommend people check out my games I finished in 2017 video. Because I didn't get to do many game reviews last year. This was my way of just doing quick fire, couple minute reviews for the 20 games or so that I played. Really enjoyed making the video. It ended up being a lot more work than I expected.
It was really, it turned out well though. I watched that one and the one you put out today.
Yeah, and today, time of recording this podcast anyways, I just put up my Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus Collector's Edition unboxing video. Videos, and I know people don't care for them too much, but I enjoy doing them regardless, so I put that up as well. And then I do want to mention I took part in I know at a certain point people don't really want to talk about like holiday stuff anymore, but I participated in a collaboration on a Retro Tips channel. He did a Christmas Memories collaboration. I think there's like
60 people or something.
Yeah, there's like 50, 60 people that took part. We all did like a minute and a half or so.
Yeah.
He time codes it, so if you should definitely check out more, but if you just want to watch my little bit, Yeah,
it's time coded. I actually watched the whole video. Yeah. I was washing dishes and I just like stuck it in the windowsill and just and then I heard a familiar voice and I was like, hey, there you go. I didn't miss it. That would have sucked if I watched a whole hour video or whatever it was, and I'm like, I didn't see it. I was actually scrubbing a dish too hard and just totally didn't miss. But yeah, I saw a couple of people I recognized on there, so it was
I've it's been a while. Every once in a while, when I was hitting some like early milestones, I'd kind of do like thank you shout out videos, and I'd mentioned his channel before, so I definitely recommend checking him out. He does pretty good content.
Yeah. I watched a couple other of his videos because afterwards sometimes it keeps going. So it went to one of his videos and then a random ass other video, and then I clicked back and checked out a couple of videos. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Yeah,
Pete's a really cool guy.
I hadn't previously heard of it, so it's always good to find some new stuff to watch.
Yeah. So then I believe last episode of the podcast I mentioned that I'd been playing Ruiner, which I finished like the day after we recorded. Pretty much my thoughts are the same. What's that?
So did you Ruiner?
Yeah, I did. Cool game. I'm not sure if I hoped for a little bit more. I think I was really kind of focused on comparing it to Hotline Miami in many ways. Similar gameplay to some extent. Another release by Devolver Digital. But, decent game, not amazing, but I enjoyed it enough to play through. Gets really, really challenging at the end. I'm not sure if there was a difficulty selector. I don't usually mess with difficulties, so I just played it on whatever standard. Struggled a little bit to get through the end, but I would definitely recommend if it's a game that looks interesting to you, to check it out. And then
I usually used to always just go the hardest, unless the hardest seemed like impossible.
Sure.
I would always just play through through it on the hardest. But now lately, having like less time, I'm almost like rushing through. I'm like, if it's a story game, I just want to get the story now. It kind of sucks. I try to play like middle of the road, like not the hardest, but not like normal. So if there's like a hard, and then there's usually like super hard or like veteran or what, depending on the kind of game you're playing. I usually just kind of go middle of the road because I don't want it to be too easy. Because I'll be like, oh, that game kind of sucked.
Right.
Because I'm used to like figuring out a game to perfection, playing it on, finding out what works pretty damn quick or washing out.
Right. And I guess kind of related to that, speaking of difficult games, pretty much as soon as I finished Ruiner, I jumped headfirst into Bloodborne. I finished it, I think it was like Sunday, just a few days ago. I started playing Bloodborne. From the time I started it took me about 2 weeks to finish. I went crazy on that game. Like, that's pretty much all I did.
Yeah, I didn't hear from you a lot. We talk a little bit almost every day or every other day. It's like nothing for like 3 or 4 days, and you're like, fucking game's kicking my ass, man. Oh, yeah. Never mind. Figured something out. Went back and kicked its ass.
That's kind of it's an interesting thing when it comes to From Software games with me. I've only played Dark Souls 3 and now Bloodborne, and in both cases, it's not that I didn't want to play the games, but for some reason I just didn't have like this big urge, like, oh, I gotta play that game. Like, it looks cool. Like Dark Souls 3, like I said, I hadn't played any of the previous games. A lot of people are talking about it. It just come out, so I'm like, you know what the hell? I'll check it out, see what happens. And the moment I started playing that game, like, it's super, super addicting. Like, I went crazy on it, beat it super quick, loved it. Pretty much the same thing with Bloodborne. Like, I've had Bloodborne. Actually, the very first videos I uploaded on my channel was right after Bloodborne came out, and a friend was like, hey, why don't we just do like a little Let's Play thing? And I was like, I didn't really want to do Let's Plays on my channel, but I was like, what the hell? It's new. Maybe we'll get some views, kind of get some content up on my channel. I hadn't played it since then. I've wanted to, but I just didn't like jump into it. But one of my friends was like, he just finished playing Neo, and he loved Neo. He did, like, I guess to do like a full playthrough of Neo, you have to do like a new game plus or something. Like, he went hard on that game, and he finished it up.
Game excessive.
Yeah, and he's like, he's like, I'm looking for something else. He's like, I'd mentioned before that if you want to play Bloodborne, that, hey, let me know and I'll play it too. So he's like, hey, are you still up for playing Bloodborne? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, let's do it. I just finished Ruiner, jumped into it. He ended up not playing the game at all, which is frustrating as heck from him. But yeah, I absolutely loved Bloodborne. Pretty much a lot of my I did a review for Dark Souls 3, and a lot of my thoughts are very similar. I mean, they're very similar games. Some basic mechanic changes. I can't really say I liked one more or less than the other, just because they're both just fantastic games. So play through Bloodborne. It took me about 50 hours. Did all side areas, defeated all the bosses, did the DLC. I didn't do the Chalice dungeons, which are kind of like, they're sort of like extra dungeons. They don't add anything to the story, but there are some unique bosses. But I didn't do the Chalice dungeons just because a lot of games that do like the bonus dungeons or like endless dungeons, I usually don't do those for some reason or another. I don't necessarily know why.
Because there's no story point to them?
Maybe that's part of it. Although I have kind of been like still having this itch to play some more Bloodborne, so who knows, maybe I'll jump back and check out some of those.
Or some more Souls games. Yeah. I know, like, Tales of Berseria had one at the end, and I played it for a bit, and then I just kind of was like, nah. I just moved to another game. Like, I loved the game. Like, obviously, like, I picked it as my game of the year last year, but I don't know. I just wasn't feeling like it was fun for a little bit, and then I was like, yeah, I'm good. And
Yeah.
it didn't really hold my when there was no story point to it. I was just like, there's other things I could be doing with my time.
Right.
Which is why I can't do really a new game plus on any games.
Sure.
Like I used to. If I loved the game, I'd play through it again right away with new game plus, and I don't know.
I was super tempted to do that with Dark Souls 3. I did New Game Plus, and I probably played through maybe like a quarter, the second of the New Game Plus. I was thinking about doing it with Bloodborne, but I was like, I should really kind of move on and play some other stuff. As much fun as I was having, I don't know. It's kind of a weird deal. But for anybody who has been on the fence with Bloodborne, I mean, just play the game. Play the game. Get good. You will have a blast.
Yeah.
So good. Oh man,
it's one of those genres where I just kind of have to be in the mindset where I have to be like in the mood to play.
You just gotta start playing. That's all you gotta do. Just start playing the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've got all of them. Like I've got Demon Souls, all 3 Dark Souls. I've got even got the Skull of the Sin version of 2. I've got Bloodborne. I've got other games that are similar to it, like Lords of the Fallen is like a shorter Souls-like game, and Nioh I really wanted to get, but I don't know. It's just like one of those games, like I said, about difficulty. It's not really, after a while, it's not even really that difficult. It's just like once you're used to playing it, it's not really that hard anymore. And I've always enjoyed those kind of games. So
yeah, it's the. Once you figure out how to play those games, it's more.
You got to get your skill dialed in. Honestly, it's not really a get good. It's just a get used to it.
Yeah, get used to it, and then it's like, much like there was actually a Musty Hobbit made a pretty good video talking about that he had played Cuphead, and I commented on it, and in a way, there's kind of some comparisons there. Vastly different games, apples to oranges. But with these games, Cuphead and the Souls games are made so well that like the only excuse for failure is on yourself. And largely it's just figuring out the encounters.
I pressed A, what?
No, you didn't. You didn't press A.
You didn't press A. You thought you did.
Right. And there's definitely some times in Bloodborne where I was like, I'm not like a rage gamer at all, but I just get so frustrated. Like, but it's mostly on me because you got to figure out these encounters. A lot of times, just exploring the levels can be a lot harder than the bosses themselves because. Yeah. Even now, there is the online is still active, but like playing through the levels, I wasn't really able to get much help. I couldn't summon people to help me just get through the levels themselves, but most of the boss battles I was able to get assistance with. There's a few that I wasn't. Took me a few extra tries, but I managed to, like I said, get through it all. Loved it. I'm still kind of blown away by how I respond to a game like Bloodborne, where the severity of my desire to keep playing it.
Oh, I know exactly so extreme.
And there's so many games that I have that I just absolutely love. Like even games I played recently, like even like Nier Automata. Like I love that game. It's like one of my favorites now, all-time favorites. And not even that. Like, so when I started playing Bloodborne was the last few days of my holiday vacation, and the Saturday, the Sunday, or wait, I'm trying to remember exactly how Saturday, Sunday, Monday I had off, and pretty much Saturday, Sunday, and that Monday, besides maybe a little break to check like social media, watch a couple of videos, like easily pulling like 10-hour stretches playing those games. And I don't do that very often. Like even if I'm typically a person, I'll play a game for a few hours and then I'll take a break. It's something consciously that I do, that I don't just like sit and play a game all freaking day. but
I miss
there was
those.
no helping myself when I came to playing through Bloodborne.
So it's a good thing you're off work. You might have just forgot anyway.
Yes. So yeah, there's kind of like my little mini review of Bloodborne. Fantastic game. I will definitely say that the next From Software game that comes out in the kind of like Soulsborne universe, I'm not gonna even think about it. I'm just gonna get it and I'm gonna play it when it comes out because I know I will absolutely love it.
Right on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those games I've had that feeling. I think it was the first one that I had that feeling with. Like Demon Souls was good, but when I played the first Dark Souls, I got like so into it. It was just like I'm just gonna keep playing it, and it's almost like with each death, you get more dedicated.
Yeah.
Well, most people will be like, "I died again,"
Right.
or you're like, "Oh no, motherfucker, I'm doing the hunch. That's it."
That's kind of a thing. That's definitely a thing that happens with me. I get determined. Like
vengeance
same with
boils
like
you.
when it comes to like something like Cuphead. Like I'm just I like to be able to say, you know, I beat this game. You know,
Especially when everyone's like, "It's so hard," you're like, "I beat it."
I did it. You know, it's just one of those things that I feel like I can take some pride in. You know, there's ridiculous NES hard games with like very cheap mechanics. You know, Ninja Gaiden, great game, cheap as shit at times, definitely doable, but
yeah, there's like the games that are hard just because they're broken or like your attack range. Your attack range is like.
Yeah.
You're like fighting with a pocket knife and they've got broadswords. And you're like, well, yeah, I died.
Yeah.
So it's just discouraging. But then there's the games that are actually playable where it's kind of like you were saying, it's your own skill if you died.
Yeah, and you know, one thing I will say is I know there's a lot of people that will stay away from these challenging games. And I'm going to keep referring to like Cuphead and the Souls games because, like I said, those are games that are just made so well. And I think if a lot of these people kind of gave the games like seriously sat down and tried these games, like Cuphead, you know, a lot more approachable. This was kind of like a thought that I had when I was talking to Musty Hobbit when he played it, is that I think if you look at the people who played Cuphead, like a lot of these people, you know, retro gamers, there's a lot of retro gamers that would be more willing to gravitate towards a game like Cuphead just because of its aesthetic. But people who generally don't kind of like, you know, they'll play modern, they'll play retro, you know, no real preference. They love it all. Cuphead is, I just kind of lost my point, but I think the aesthetic of a game like Cuphead makes it a lot more accessible for a lot of people.
Yeah,
you know, the difficulty is insane, but you know, just the bright, colorful, animated characters and things like that just make it a little bit more. It feels a little bit more inviting. Where a game like Bloodborne is,
it happily murders you.
It's dark and you know, scary monsters and things like that.
Killed by a sunflower.
Like it's almost like an intimidation.
So
it's almost like an intimidation factor compared to the two games, and I think it very much the same kind of reward that you get. You don't get anything from progressing, but you get that satisfaction, and it's really hard to explain that.
It's like you get the feeling after just beating like a boss in one of those games that you feel of beating an entire other game.
Yeah,
that wasn't that hard.
It's like
oh my god, that end boss in that game. You're like, that was like the intro to Dark Souls.
It's a very interesting kind of dopamine
game, but this is what the accomplishment is there every few steps in those kind of games.
Yeah,
like I beat that level on Cuphead. Wow, it sounds like I beat a level on Mario Odyssey, and you're like,
golf clap.
Yeah. You're like, but I don't know. I do like those games not just for the bragging rights of being them, but like the accomplishment. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I do want to say it's not just about bragging rights. Like Cuphead and Bloodborne are just fantastic games. So, and all the From Software games, it's so impressive. Like you go into this game and you get these initial ideas of what it is. A very light, direct story, but just the amount of depth is just insane. Like I've been watching lore videos and stuff on Bloodborne, and it just kind of blows my mind each time I learn new stuff. All this just like deep hidden lore, like through item descriptions and random events. It's wild. Just trying to wrap my head around like how they designed it. How did they plan this out? Like it's crazy. I mean, I'm not a game designer, so I don't have that ability.
That's how you build a world, though. That's how you could tell that people cared about what they were creating. It wasn't just pump out this shooting game.
Yeah, totally.
Where it's a group of guys and they all just have a singular goal, and they do. And you're like, all right, that was very one-dimensional. And then you get these games where it seems like on the surface, even sometimes on those kind of games, like seem kind of like, oh yeah, it's a straightforward idea, but then I don't know.
I think then, a little like 2 years a little late here on the Bloodborne discussion. So hopefully everyone's just not like, I already knew this. I've known this for 2 years, but
shut up about Bloodborne.
Is what it is.
Bloodborne 2.
So then I think we can kind of jump into some news topics that we have here. I got some quick mentions. I think you got some mentions. And then hopefully time allows and we can do some kind of interesting bigger topics, I think. But with that said, a couple quick mentions. Sorry, I keep repeating myself. First thing I wanted to mention was
echo.
First thing I want to mention is Henshin Engine. So I've talked about this before. This was a game that is currently being developed in Kickstarter, actually going to be released within the next couple months, I believe. Maybe next month even. Really fun game. I'm enjoying it. I backed it. Did a couple of reviews on my channel, or kind of previews, but you
interviewed one of the developers, did you not, at the Midwest Gaming Classic last year?
Yes. Yep. Got to do a little interview. They were there kind of showing off their latest build of the game. Saramaru, very cool guy. But they ran into some legal issues when they went to do not copyright or something, like patenting, something along the lines of that. There is some company that I think they make like art supplies or pencils or pens or something called Henshin. And apparently that's enough for them to have that word on lockdown. So Henshin Engine had to change the name of their game. They had all the promo material that, it's
really sucks.
Yeah, it really sucks. And surprising that I don't know if like Henshin. See, I know Henshin's like, I forget what it means, but it's like a Japanese word. So to be able to like copyright a word, that was like
was it like Asian Gene Simmons over there? Like Henshin's my word. If you mention the Henshin, you owe me $5.
Yeah. So they changed the name of the game. I think it's a good fit. They use Henshin. So they made Henshin Engine a subtitle, but the game is now going to be called FX Unit Yuki, which is the main character, and then with the subtitle, The Henshin Engine. So, not a big change, but for anybody who might have been kind of keeping an eye out for the game, just letting you know that the name has changed.
Definitely. At least they're keeping it as part of a part of the title. So people who were like, I was following this game, and then just like fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
If they go to look it up, and that's as far as it went to.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm super excited for that. I've seen a little bit more. They put out a little teaser when they were talking about that change on their YouTube channel, showing off a couple more levels. I didn't look too much, so I kind of played the video and I was looking at something else because I don't want to see everything. I'd like to, be surprised.
Yeah, definitely.
But they explain a little bit more on their channel.
You're already getting it, so it's like, and it's the same like I've said before. If I know I want to get a game, I don't follow it at all.
Right.
Unless if I see a topic that's like absolutely don't buy this game, I'm like, maybe I'll check that out. But
yeah.
But I mean, if it's a game I already know I want to buy, I ignore it completely until it's out, and it also kills that wait hype where you're like, man, come on, be made. I just want it to come out. But I'm totally looking forward to trying that out too. If I pick it up, I have a pitifully small TurboGrafx collection, so it'd be kind of cool to get something new for it.
Yeah, right. So then, just another thing. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. Just I thought it was kind of neat. So for anybody who's played the Dragon Age series, primarily Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Inquisition, there was a character in the game, Varric. He was, I forget exactly what his job role was. He was kind of like a thief character, not like thief as in the necessarily archetype, more of just the inability. But he was an author in the game, and I believe especially in Dragon Age Inquisition, there was all these talks about this book that he was working on called Hard in Hightown, which was kind of like a thriller noir, sultry murder mystery sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And it's actually being published into a book.
Right on.
So that's kind of neat. I think just for the novelty, I will probably get it. The novelty of the novel.
Well, you're a Dragon Age fan, as am I. As I mentioned to you before we started, I haven't played much of Inquisition after my experience with the 360 version at launch. That kind of soured me on it, but I do have it for the one also, and I definitely need to get to it. But I loved the first two games, especially the first one. So yeah, it'd be kind of cool. I mean, I don't ever get time to read anything, let alone play anything, so I won't be getting it. But I want to hear what you have to say about it once you get it, because maybe you can read it and I'll listen to your book on tape.
Yeah. So that's really all I had for news mentions, and then you had a few things.
Yeah, just little mentions. Hyperkin's bringing out this thing called the Ultra Game Boy, which is basically just like kind of what seems like what a lot of modders are doing with the front lit screen. I think a lot of people are doing the backlit screens when they mod the Game Boys now. Yeah. But it's it's an official release, not really kind of thing. Not from Nintendo, but it's from them. It's got an aluminum body and all this other bells and whistle. I thought it looked kind of cool. If I played more of my portable stuff, I'd probably be picking one up. I mean, I love my Game Boy and stuff like that, but I found even my 3DS is kind of suffering since I've got the Switch. If I'm bringing a console anywhere, it's going to be the Switch. So I probably won't be getting it, but at one point it would be kind of cool because I still do love the Game Boy, but I find if I'm going to play Game Boy, honestly, I'm going to throw it in the Super Game Boy on Super Nintendo.
That's what I do.
Or the Game Boy player on my GameCube. So, I mean, for a while there, I was replaying some of the older games. But, with the 3D, it's either going to be 3DS or Switch, probably, for me, if I'm playing. But, I don't know. I just thought it was a cool thing to mention. Mm-hmm. And then another thing's coming back that is kind of laughable and not so cool to me. And that is the return of Mad Catz, everyone's favorite controller brand.
Yeah.
They went bankrupt working on Rock Band or Guitar Hero controllers, and they invested heavily in, and then no one cared, so they didn't buy them. So they filed for bankruptcy. It was like a year and a half. Yeah. And now they're coming back. I don't remember everyone going, "Oh, I miss Mad Catz." What am I gonna do?
Yeah, and I was listening to another podcast, great podcast. It's called Masters of Unlocking. They're kind of associated with the Cartridge Club.
Okay.
Really know their stuff pretty well, and they were talking about this as well. And apparently, Mad Catz had, besides everything else they did, they were making high-end fight sticks, which I guess were very well made. A lot of fighting game like pros actually used their fight sticks, and I think somehow that part of that
Kept them afloat, sort of.
or at least kind of had the desire to keep them going as a company.
Okay, I have heard that their fight sticks were pretty decent, and I just never really get into a fighting game enough that I feel I need a fight stick. I mean, if I saw one cheap somewhere, I'd definitely pick it up. I would like to have one of those like universal ones, because there's ones that pretty much work with everything. I wouldn't want to get like a console specific one where you're like, cool, I can play all these PS2 fighting games, and then you get used to it, and then you go to play like the next Street Fighter on PS4, and then you're like, this sucks now.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a thing to get used to, but then once you're used to it, it's probably better. You know, you just get in the hang of something. Because I know I played with fight sticks at friends' houses, and they just beat it up when I go over there. I'm like, I said I liked this game, but I'm like, I haven't played it for a while. Because like I said before about fighting games, like I like fighting games, but I get over them really quickly. So like I like build the skill and then I don't use it. I just like, good enough, I beat it, and then when I get able to beat it on like some of the harder difficulties, I just kind of give up, play a little bit online, then I'm done with it. Like I love Tekken 7, but I haven't touched Tekken 7 since I completely beat it. Like I got all the achievements and all that, and I was just like, all right, if someone wants to play it at some point, I'll throw it in, but
Sure.
I'm done with it as far as I'm concerned. But then I'd be like, I liked Tekken 7, and the friend would be like, really? Let's play. I would probably suck at it already now. I'd be like, oh man, I forgot everything. So a couple of my friends really go hard on the fighting games, and I just go over there and just it's a very humbling experience when I go over there. Just, oh yes. It's actually a throwback to me to when I would go over to my friends' houses that had games, and when I didn't have games, and I'd play like Mortal Kombat against my friend. My friend, I don't know if like I legit beat him or if he was my friend and just let me beat him. He never really quite said. I think a few times he let me win, but I think I actually built skill playing against his older brother, who would relentlessly beat the shit out of me. And then like one time I beat him one round, and it was just like, you can't ever hold anything over my head. I beat you one time. And then I like lost the match. And then another time I finally won an entire match against him. And he's just like, oh, I'm just tired. But I was just like,
Of course.
here you are. Tired of kicking my ass for like 2 years at this game. So it's one of those things where you can win 200 times. If I win once, I've won.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little bit off topic, but like that was my experience with fight sticks. It took a little getting used to, but I think it would be a better use for that kind of stuff. But anyway, Mad Catz, like speaking like their fight sticks, they're keeping going with that. But I didn't see anything planned for like in the little article I saw anyway about them making more controllers, which is good. But I did see them. Looks like I don't know if they did this previously or if they're just branching out to this now. But it seemed to be like primarily things for PC, like keyboards and mouse, like special mice and stuff for playing. But I don't know. But if they're better at that, all the power to them. I just know if someone brings a Mad Catz controller over to my house, they have to leave. So, but
yeah, they definitely need to get away from like the goofy, gimmicky controllers.
There's the turbo button and the light. Yeah. Like one of my favorite like spoof videos is College Humor does this one.
Yeah,
I think I sent it to you. The Jaw Dogs controller, where it's totally just a dig at Mad Catz, like it's in the name. Where it's like where it has like an antenna he pulls out, and then he turns on the turbo, and it the light just shines right into his eye while he's playing, and it catches fire, and there's a piece rattling in it, and like all this is the truest shit.
Yeah, anybody who hasn't seen this video, just look up Jaw Dogs.
Yeah,
it's hilarious, and it's so on point.
Yeah, it's called humor video. So yeah, definitely check that out. Besides that, meant to be a little mention and ended up being a side story. Another thing I found kind of funny is that gaming is actually a mental disorder now. So,
well, yeah, I'll let you go with this before I interject.
I just think it's funny. I mean, I think it could just go with any kind of obsession, but it's just knowing your priorities.
Yeah.
Really, but apparently it can be like a mental condition, and these are my padded walls then. Because if you shirk a responsibility, I think you're just irresponsible.
Yeah, I think
you show no drive in life to do anything besides gaming. Like, I'm not taking a dig at anyone who loves gaming, because obviously I do. I am obsessed with games, but it's never hindered another part of my life. Like, I've never been fired from a job, or I've had almost hungover feelings of staying up way too damn late, but that's my own fault, and I still take the responsibility to go to work feeling like shit, or getting up with the kids, getting them off to school feeling like shit because I stayed up late again, because I'm a natural night owl. So even if I'm not gaming, I'm staying up late doing something else. But yeah, I thought that was kind of laughable, but just like a lot of other people are saying on there, well, if I can get a prescription for it and the prescription is more games, then fuck yeah, help me out. I mean, yeah. I could go off on disability and just get paid to play games. So even if YouTube doesn't work out, I'm still getting paid to play games. There you go.
Yeah, so I had two main thoughts even when I initially saw this story, and I don't think a lot of the typical kind of YouTubers that a lot of us follow will make their reaction videos and, lol, this is stupid, blah, blah, blah. So really my two main thoughts on this are, one, I think instead of being like a quote unquote gaming disorder, there should be more of a broad category of just maybe like addictive personality disorder, which, there's that guy. Sorry. Lop things in. I mean, like something like, say, gambling. I mean, gambling, they have gambling addiction, but I think it's less of the gambling and more of just the addictive personality itself. There's no the main separating factor between like a chemical addiction and a mental addiction is the chemical. There's no chemical involved besides the ones our own brains create. So having a separate classification for a gaming disorder, I think is kind of silly. At the same time, though, I don't think it's as extreme as a lot of people want to make the jokes about. Well, whatever. I think it's more just trying to, in some ways, it's the realm of psychology taking steps to acknowledge and identify that video games can be addictive. A lot of it is just personal responsibility and stuff, but there are people who do have issues with addictive things. It's not most of us. This definitely doesn't apply. Like, even the description on the page, like the description that they provided in a lot of these stories was really stupid. That can apply to most gamers, but in reality, the people who struggle the most are a very small percentage.
It's also just like the people who shirk all responsibility to do it. Like yeah, it's just that can come with anything. That'd be like even if you didn't play games all the time, if you felt the need to spend all of your money on it, and then you didn't have money for your bills,
right?
And then it screwed up your life in that way.
Yeah, addiction.
I might be kind of borderline on that sometimes, but I think I always make sure my bills are paid. I always make sure, everyone's happy. We have food, shit like that.
Yeah, I think
definitely.
a lot of the, I wouldn't say like backlash about that story necessarily, but I think a lot of people are too focused on these articles kind of, in order to have any sort of like addiction or disability, like there has to be check boxes. And even though those topics sound very general, like, pushing off responsibilities or losing sleep or so on and so forth, yeah, that really applies to a lot of us. Like I've lost sleep, I've, whatever, this and that. But really when it comes to a true addiction, it's to the point where it hinders people's lives. And
are you giving up everybody, like, are you not ever seeing anybody? Are you locking yourself away at a game?
And so many more.
Then that's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem.
And really, in the end, like the gaming disorder thing, like I said, it really affects like a small percentage of people. People, and this kind of like even boils into the discussion of like depression, where people will be like, well, just do something else, or get over yourself, or kind of stuff. And sometimes, sure, yeah, that might be the case for some people, but for the small percentage of people who like legitimately struggle with some of these issues, it is a very serious thing. And in one side, for me, scoffing at like a gaming disorder thing presented as this very general thing, as a lot of this news story did, I can kind of understand where a lot of people would want to, make jokes and stuff about this. But again, on the other hand, like I said, this is kind of trying to address, acknowledge that this thing can be addictive. But I think, like I said, having like a quote unquote, gaming disorder, it's not going to be in the book of recognized, like, disabilities.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it was presented
poorly.
Yeah, like as a joke, like it's like they knew he was going to get ripped on, so they're like, well. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the places that we've probably seen the articles posted by a video game heavy site, so they're like, look at this shit.
Yeah, scoffing at it from the get-go. But, for the most part, anybody who heard about that thing doesn't apply to you, even though some of those check boxes are very relevant.
It's okay to be a gaming addict. Just be a functioning gaming addict. Don't put anyone else at risk.
Right.
Pay your bills, because if you don't pay your bills, where are you going to get?
Yeah, true that. Yeah. So, is what it is. Let's. I think ultimately the main thing that I would want people to take from that topic, a quote unquote gaming disorder or anything, is that, we make jokes and stuff, but mental health is a very serious thing. A lot of us are fortunate where we don't have to deal with those issues.
Yeah.
But the people who are affected, like we can't fully.
It's almost like a person by person basis.
Yeah.
Like some people, that's their gaming's their escape, just like going on their phone is their escape, just like music is their escape. But
there's
it can become something where it becomes your like everything.
Yeah, there's definitely a line that, like I said, most of us don't cross. But a lot of times too, at the same, when people develop these like severe addictions, it's not just that thing. Oftentimes there's a lot of other deep-seated issues that boil into it. So, like I said, the way I see it is, if they're examining it more as, the people who are addicted to things, to try to be more proactive in helping these people, that's great. But yeah.
But I just picture all these moms being like, see, you're addicted. You play 2 hours a day. That's excessive. That's ridiculous. You should go outside.
Yeah.
You have 20 games here. Do you play all these games? That's that's what I think is the joke part, is that
Yeah.
people are going to latch on to this ridiculously. That's what was the actual joke to me, was the people who don't even read anything about it. They just see the thing and they're like, I knew it.
Yes,
He's a gaming addict. He wants to play games a lot.
Normies, as I like to call them.
Yeah. Normies or mommies.
Fuck you, normies. that meme. I love that meme.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
Yeah, so moving on.
Moving on to another topic here. Apparently Xbox is kind of like revamping their gamer score thing again. As it stands now, you've got a set amount of gamer score you can get in each game. You know, sometimes they add on with DLCs or updates or whatever, but there's still only like a finite amount you can get. They used to cap it more on the 360. I think it's more open now on the One. But apparently now they're going more for like people who stick to a few games, namely like the online games more. Like if you play a lot of Halo, if you play a lot of Call of Duty, there's extra achievements you can get for more in-game things. I don't know if it's actually like a point achievement or if it's like little like loot box kind of things that you unlock. Like you've played 4,000 hours of Halo. Now you've got special padding for your shoulders or something, just like the rank. There used to be a special one in Halo 3 where you got a flaming helmet for, can't remember what the hell it was. It was like being a certain rank or being in the top something, and it was like a very coveted thing. And then in Halo Reach, it was just a thing. If you bought the collector's edition, you got it for free. But nice. I guess it's kind of cool. So like the couple people who stick to like their 2 or 3 games a year and that's all they play, like something extra to keep them interesting. I don't really have a whole lot to say on it. I just kind of thought I'd mention it. It's I want to know how other people think about it actually.
I would say as long as it's like a separate thing, like not like the official gamer score thing where, you know, all of a sudden now you can't platinum a game because you don't get like 3,000 hours into it, like would be really shitty.
Yeah, because there's some people who like I said before, steer away from that shit. Like, if it's going to take me that long, I'm not even going to bother. I like to have completed games online. Yeah,
I mean, personally, I don't care about achievements at all. So when I see things like that, you know, it's not gonna.
It's just like cool for them, but I don't care. Yeah,
but
just
for
like me,
the people,
I like. Yeah, people who what?
For the people who do like stick, especially with the multiplayer online games that stick with these games for a long period of time, it's nice to have those incentives, even if you know they're playing the game because they love the game. They're just little bonuses that reward dedication, and that I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think more score is a bad idea. Like they're still in like the kind of like they're developing it. They're haven't said a whole lot on it, but I know that it said there's some cosmetic things for in the game that are only gettable through that. So if it's that kind of shit, that's cool with me. But it would be pretty annoying if it was anything else. Only other little thing I really have is I thought it was a pretty cool note that modders have taken it upon themselves to make Fallout New Vegas in Fallout 4.
Sweet.
More Fallout's always a good thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people regard that as the best of the Bethesda Fallout games. So I don't know.
I think it's cool. I don't know. There's some trade-offs with that, unless they're like re-implementing. I mean, of course, they're modders, so modders can do a lot of things with the game. Implementing a karma system back into it, because karma was kind of removed from Fallout 4.
Yeah, there's a bunch of new perks that were left out. Some stuff that wasn't even actually in New Vegas, they've kind of like added in as part, and stuff that was taken out of more of the moral stuff that was kind of missing from Fallout. Yeah, Fallout 4. So it's cool, like and more speech options kind of thing, because that's another thing I got ripped on for. I mean, I love Fallout 4
Yeah,
probably
me too.
probably just as much as I loved the other ones, but like
I
as
think
I
it's my
said,
game of the year for 2016. Was that?
yeah,
No, wait. They changed. I think I changed it. Changed it to Undertale.
both. Ty.
No, wait. 2016 was The Last Guardian. 2015, initially, I had Fallout 4, which was crazy because I picked that over Metal Gear Solid 5, which I think is an amazing game.
What?
But then I played Undertale, and it's fucking Undertale hands down for me. But real quick, I just want to make a comment about the New Vegas. You mentioned that a lot of people view that as like the best, and I just want to chime in and say that I think there's pros and cons to Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, where I think Fallout 3 was, for me anyways, was a lot more engaging exploring the world, where I thought Fallout New Vegas had a lot better story. Not saying either way were bad. Like, I'm not saying Fallout 3 story was bad or New Vegas's gameplay was bad, but it's like, you know,
I appreciate that they were a different game and of themselves, but while feeling still similar in a lot of ways. Because if it didn't change at all, because I remember at first everyone's like, New Vegas, they could have just made this like one of the add-ons for Fallout 3. Well, why didn't they? And that's what it feels like. It feels like an add-on. Like I remember initially people were saying, I'm like, are you playing this past the first 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Like it's a vast, like not vastly different, but there's a lot of different stuff, and like the setting is totally different. Like I don't know. It was one of my favorite games last gen. Both of those. Bethesda basically ruled last gen for me. Skyrim, Oblivion, both Fallouts are pretty much probably like a quarter of my playtime on the console. But maybe that's stretching it a bit. But I did get a shit ton of play on those. If you went to the most time spent, I'm sure those 4 games are the top 4 games.
Yeah, those are all like for my play times anyways. I mean, Fallout 3 was a lot more because I actually played. That was one of the game. Like, I'm not a big DLC person. Like I said, a lot of times when I play a game, if the DLC is available when I play the game, I'm all over it. I tend to not revisit. I played Fallout 3 when they released the final DLC, which was the Point. What is? Yes, that was the last DLC, and that's like right when I jumped into the game. So I played through the main game. I played through all the DLCs, and I think for me that playthrough was like 130 hours, 140 hours or something. I mean, Skyrim. I mean, that's easily a 100-hour game. Fallout 4.
I think I have about 200 in Skyrim on just my main file, and I was like 150 on 3 or something like that. 150, 160. Just did absolutely everything you could do in those games. Oblivion, it was pretty. The main story was so ignored in that game because I didn't want to close the Oblivion gates, and I would just keep finding them, and I must have closed like 80 Oblivion gates. It was ridiculous. Whereas like if I just like did one main story mission, I could have just closed them all, and I was like, nah, it was fun to, even though they were kind of samey, just like a lot of the, caves and dungeons. I just liked going in and going through these portals to hell and fighting demons was kind of a cool offset from the nice forested areas that I was in for a bit.
Sure.
Anyway, enough about those. Why don't we talk about the kind of stuff we want to play this year?
Yeah, well, so I think for time, I might trim a little bit here.
Not exactly the games, but like, what do you have planned for your 2018 in gaming?
Yeah, so I was kind of thinking it would be fun. A lot of other people are kind of talking about like 2018 kind of goals in regards to gaming or just like plans in general. And I thought it'd be fun just to kind of, talk about, I know a lot of times we don't necessarily, we don't plan out our year like, oh, this is how I'm going to game this year. But we always try to say,
play my games out on the couch. We'll play these games in this order and not Terry from this order whatsoever.
Yeah. But it's always fun just to kind of try to see, hey, I'm gonna try to do this and see if I can meet it. Sometimes people will be like, oh, I'm gonna play a lot more retro games, or I'm gonna try to knock out my entire backlog, or I'm gonna play every NES game, kind of stuff. So yeah.
Knock out your backlog this year. Is that your goal?
Yeah, play my entire backlog of 6.
I want to see the start screen of every game in my backlog. Even that's much.
Yeah, so it's just something fun. So I didn't think about it too in depth. Like, I didn't plot out any like crazy plans or anything. I think overall, kind of my main goal for 2018, honestly, besides what I usually do, I'm going to try to keep up with new games, new releases the best I can. But especially because of 2017, I really want to make it a point this year to try to play some more retro games from my backlog, or maybe even just play some more games of my backlog, which I'm like, I start out well. I Bloodborne, I started playing Bloodborne. That's my first game that I finished 2018. That's a game that was in my backlog. But what do I do while I'm playing Bloodborne? I go out and I order Wolfenstein 2 and I order Wolfenstein The Old Blood. So I just added 2 more games to my backlog. But, I'm going to play those when I get them. But I really want to try to knock out some more like specific stuff that's been sitting in my backlog for years.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be more retro. I don't know if it's going to be like more kind of like current gen stuff. Just knock out some more stuff from my backlog. That's really my main goal. I don't have a number. Maybe I can try to squeeze in some games between big releases, but primarily that's my goal.
Like we said before, just try to knock out some shorties in between doing some old ones. And by shorties, we don't mean the ladies. Like, like just knock out a game that you can beat in 4 hours. Knock out, interesting game. At least, like, non-RPG retro games, you can at least like play them and get some fun out of them. You may not have to beat them.
Right.
I feel like you at least play them. I know a problem that we both have, especially now that you've returned to the JRPG scene, is that we have a passion for collecting RPGs, but we don't have exactly the time.
Yeah.
Play our RPGs.
That's definitely
on our RPG collections. We go, when we're buying retro games, that tends to be what we seem to go. I mean, that's what I've observed anyway in myself, and a little bit from you is like
especially more of the older gen, like PS1 and RPGs, older for RPGs, just absolute gold. I will say, like, one of the games that I do like, I really, really want to try to play soon, that I'm thinking. So kind of right now, the next few games that I'm thinking of playing while I'm waiting. So I got the Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus, and then I also ordered the Old Blood. I prefer my FPS games to be on PC, and they didn't do a physical release for the Old Blood, or at least maybe it wasn't a disc-based. I can't remember exactly. In the US, there was either not a physical version of the Old Blood, or maybe it was just a download code, but the PAL version was a full physical version, so I ordered the PAL version. I've done that for a few PC games as of recent. Mm-hmm. I want to play through those, but while I'm waiting for the Old Blood to get here, because I want to play that before I play the New Colossus, you had highly encouraged Titanfall 2, which you had given me a while back, so that's probably going to be my next game. I want to play that. Yeah, it was the Wolfenstein games. I really want to play Resident Evil 7, but I'm really itching to play Persona 5. And that's like a 100-hour game. And it's like, oh, God damn it, what am I going to do?
I know what you mean. I've got it too. I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to play a game at the same time again, like we did. Maybe we'll knock out some shorter games each, and then maybe we can both play Persona at the same time, because I also have Persona. So that'd be kind of a cool game to play at the same time, and we can kind of vibe off it and let each other know what do you think of this? Is this kind of stupid? I try to keep up with it, and it'll also give me like a goal to try and keep up with someone who gets the game more than I do, and I'll be like we did with Berseria, we were pretty neck and neck.
Right.
On playtime there, so that was cool.
And then kind of an associated, not necessarily gaming goal, but kind of tied in with my YouTube channel is one thing I would really, really like to do is I absolutely love doing game reviews. The problem that I have with game reviews is the amount of time that it takes to do them. And I don't want to necessarily say like, views or comments or anything like that reflect on whether or not I'm going to do a video. But it was in 2016. So it's been well over a year now when YouTube changed their algorithm. Like you can actually go and look at my channel and look at how my videos were doing, where I was consistently like my video, like especially my reviews would get 100, 150 views. And then all of a sudden it was like, I think it was like October 2016. You could see my views instantly halved. And it was kind of it. And honestly, it was discouraging that I'd put like 10, 14 hours into doing these game reviews and then just not getting like any views on them whatsoever. So that was very discouraging.
Not feeling a payoff. I totally.
And that's not. I mean, at this point now, it's really. I mean, that's not what it's about. I'm not doing it for the attention. I'm not doing it for like internet stardom or anything. I do it because I enjoy it. But one thing that I do think I want to try to do is get back into doing reviews. And the last few reviews that I actually did on my channel were very short. When I did like the Valkyrie profile, when I did Shovel Knight, when I did the engine review.
That was the mini reviews you did, right?
Basically, like what I mean, I called them mini reviews because most of the reviews on my channel were like 10 to 15 minutes long. So I think what I want to try to do is try to start doing some reviews. It probably won't be soon, definitely not in the next month. Correction, not this month, maybe next month. I'm already planning on something. But I want to try to start doing reviews again, and I think I'm going to try to shoot for like 5 or 6 minutes. Still takes a little bit of work, but nowhere near as long as it took when I was doing these long form reviews.
I mean, you get your point across. You get to say, I mean, as in depth. Like I like both formats of your videos. I'm not just saying it because I'm talking right to your face right now. Mm-hmm. I liked both. Like the short ones, you got your feelings on it.
Yeah.
But the in-depth ones were still like really informative. Like
and I will say, so I've had comments before about the length of some of my older reviews, and kind of the way I looked at it was when I was doing those reviews, it was kind of like not only just for people to like somebody who was on the fence about the game. They probably know enough about it. They're just looking for a little extra validation one way or another to make the decision. But when I was doing the long reviews, the 10, the 15-minute reviews, plus, I mean, I had a couple of reviews that got up to like 20 minutes. But it was more for those who don't really know a lot about games, even in general.
Yeah,
they're kind of like a retrospective, like in-depth, like, I talk not just about the general game itself, but I talk about the controls and, the gameplay and the story. I hit all the elements a lot more in depth than your typical review.
Yeah, how compared to like another type, same-ish game or something like that. You'd be like, oh yeah, I feel like, this is a lot like Resident Evil. If you like Resident Evil, so you kind of like help them relate to it more.
Yeah,
and it's cool because a lot of the games you do reviews on, like not a lot of them are like AAA titles. Like you kind of like as you said on the last one, you kind of go for underdog games, and your reviews are I think are more like to get the word out there about some games without doing a Hidden Gems video.
Yeah.
you're like, check out this game, and he's like you said, out of all your reviews, only one of them I think was negative, and that was the very first one. So you usually, if you're doing a review, it's almost like, well, I know it's going to be a good game because he's doing a review.
Sure.
but then yeah, it's like, I don't know. I like I said, I like the longer ones too, especially for the lesser known games. I think like if you're doing like or a bunch of people who played it, you could just do a shorter one on that because more people are aware. I don't know. That's just my constructive criticism. I think like the lesser known games, like what's that one you had the repro of, the Super Nintendo one?
Oh, Hyper Area.
Hyper Area, yeah. Like I'd never heard of that game, and I love Super Nintendo, so like that was like hanging on every word. Like, is this a good game? This looks fucking cool. Whereas like, yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah,
a bigger game, you'd be like, you've heard of this game, so I'm just gonna cut the shit.
I mean, yeah.
This is what I liked about it. This is what I didn't like about it.
I definitely did some reviews on some big games. Like I reviewed Doom and I reviewed Dark Souls and things like that because I wanted to talk about those games. But like I said, at the same time, like kind of the thing that I try to separate is, you know, you got your typical review. I think a lot of times is geared towards people who know, who are more in the know. Where I tried to gear mine more into those who didn't know or didn't really know a lot about games or didn't really know about the genre or the series, just to try to give a little bit more idea. But kind of ringing this back in, I can't really, I wouldn't be horribly disappointed if I don't do many game reviews this year. The main thing is I just want to try to do some game reviews because I really enjoy doing those. And I'm sure not everybody wants to see pickup videos and unboxing videos. So
hey, what's wrong with those?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Well, in that same vein, I find that my unboxing videos almost always get like 100-something views, a couple hundred views, whereas my pickup ones, I was getting like comparatively, like I'd be getting like 30% of what I would be getting for my unboxings and stuff.
Well, definitely for things like the retro game treasures boxes, because people are really curious, like if they should invest in something like that. And
that's why we did the head-to-heads and stuff like that. The head-to-heads are definitely the most popular.
I think the whole dynamic was good, especially for a lot of like people of our generation, people who have kids. I think it's a cool format. You don't see that a lot. I know there are some other channels that do involve their children with their videos, but I think it was a lot of fun. Mainly seeing Araya's passion. Like, you could see it. She was excited about video games. She was excited about making a video with her dad talking about video games. Like, that's so cool.
You can tell it wasn't just like, get over here, sit down, we're making a video. Oh,
yeah.
I don't want care, Dad. So we'll see how. She's like 12 and I'm still doing this kind of stuff. We'll see if she still does the same. Right. Like, cool, Dad. You got a Nintendo game. Are you going to play that game?
Yeah.
Are you going to? I'm like.
So enough on my goals. So what are you kind of looking forward? Like, what are your goals for 2018?
Kind of to get the momentum going again. As much as I've been talking about it, having the newborn is definitely. Making just what everything tough. I'm going to go more into this with my channel update, but I definitely need to get back to format with doing more of my unboxings, keeping up with the box that comes in once a month. Like, come on. We have 2 from before we canceled it, and then 2 since we've got it back. So it's like I might have bought some of those games. I don't know. They're still sealed. So, I mean. At least they won't send me more because when they send it to you, they check it off on your lists.
Mm-hmm.
But I would definitely like to get caught up on that, get kind of like a routine going, you know. With my evening job, Domino's, I'm gonna see if they can like kind of keep me on the same-ish schedule. Like I've usually been working 5-6 days a week there. Anytime someone wants me to cover, I'm usually covering, or if I'm an earlier driver and someone wants me to stay till close, I just agree and do it because I'm like, money. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to kind of like limit how much I work for Domino's because my day job pays really well too. And I just want to be able to, like, I'm making a lot of money that way, and I can afford more stuff for my hobby or more stuff in general. Life's been cool, but also life has really sucked with how much I've been working. Because before I quit Walmart, I was working 14 to 17-hour days, which is why nothing was getting done on my channel, nothing was getting played, and I didn't have money. just kind of catching up for the first while. But now that it's been back, besides the newborn being born, there's a little bit more playroom there for me to play. So I think when he grows up a little bit more, where he's, not up every 10, 20 minutes all night, and he's a couple months older, it'll be a lot easier. Like, I can kind of bank on staying up a little later, not going, oh no, I'm getting no sleep tonight, so I'm going to bed now. Like, just get home, sit in bed for a few minutes, then go to bed. I'm gonna kind of get a routine going with that. I want to get a video out. I'm going to try to do a weekly video, at least 2 if it's a shorter video. As I mentioned, getting the computer parts in, I want to up the quality of my videos, so that's the second goal. I want to not only start making them again, I want to start making them better. I also would like to do like review type stuff, anything that I can use the capture footage, not exactly a lot of Let's Plays, maybe not even like traditional reviews, maybe just like a check this game out kind of thing, just kind of like more lesser known or games I don't hear about as often, kind of games that need some recognition. And then I want to get through, I'd say, 2 old school RPGs. I'd like to get through a newer RPG, which will probably end up being Persona. And I want to get through some of this backlog. I want to beat some shorter games, then invest in a longer game. Kind of do like that, beat 2 or 3, depending on the length, shorter games. I always have 2 games on the go as it is. 3 lately, especially with going with the Switch, and just trying out the new games I get. But I just want to like kind of have a reason that I am accumulating these games. I want to feel like I'm getting into them. So that's my goals. I want to do more of what I used to do and get kind of back to it without neglecting family and sleep.
Yes.
So if I can balance that, I will be a very happy man.
Yeah.
Because family is very important to me, and it's not like I want to come down here and ignore my family while they're upstairs or anything. That's not something I ever intend to do. But like just the last 3 days, I've had the last 3 evenings off. I've spent so much more time with the family, it feels like, than I've spent in months, just because the kids were off for 2 weeks from school, but still didn't really feel like I got to do that much with them. Went throughout the weekend, like the Saturday, Sunday, and like I said, the last 3 days, like I feel like I got returned a lot. Like it's coming back. Like I started with the YouTube again. I started since the basement's gotten done. That was a big thing to overcome. And now that I have, like, we were playing Legos down here last night. We played Lego Dimension for probably 3 hours. Built like 6 or 7 sets. We got a huge box still of them, but that's less discouraging. That's more like we got through about half of them. The only thing I've got left there is, instead of the little figure packs, we've got the ones that where you build the one character, and then it makes you go into the level where you do their themed level, and then that's how you build the other things. Like there's usually like a vehicle or something like that. So we just got a little bit of that to play, and I know it's cool. It's because this basement is primarily mine, but I like spending time with the kids down here. Like the kids that know not to just pull everything off the shelves and everything. Like basically the 2 older girls, and that's one thing I've wanted to get more into. Is like we'll have our family time where we can game down here and play the games the kids like, which will help me knock out a bunch of like games that I've picked up that I think they'd be into. Hopefully not just stick to Mario Kart and Lego games, but I do have a lot of Lego games, like separate from the
Right.
buy 50 Lego sets to go with the game. Like like I said, I've always been a big fan of the Lego games, so I can knock out the Lego Star Wars, Force Awakens, and Lego Worlds and stuff like that. Anything that's multiplayer, I'll try to play with at least one of the kids or more. So that's another goal. More family gaming, more YouTube, raise the quality on my YouTube, have more of a presence on my my Facebook page, and just be more out there. So
Awesome.
I think it's kind of a broad goal, but
Lofty.
I want to keep up with my most wanted to play games for the current stuff, but I do want to hit this backlog of like old school games, because it seems like I keep getting kick-ass old school games that I've always wanted to try. Oh man, I wanted to try that when it came out, and I just remembered that it exists and it's cheap, and I pick it up, and then I'm like, oh fuck, it looks good on that shelf there. It would look cooler. It would look cooler on the TV, but I don't have any time. But now,
Right.
at the time, and we're a lot of rambling, but my final goal is actually tied to one of my first videos I'm going to be making, and that's my series that I always wanted to try out, but for some reason never did. The more I'm thinking on it, the more it's like I'm even counting stuff that I played like just a little bit to see what kind of game it was and shit like that. And there's like even goals of like I'm trying to collect this whole series, but I'm like, why? I've never even. What if I don't like it? Like I swore that I'd played some of these games, and then I play them to sample them. I'm like, I've never played this. So that's another thing, is to play at least one game from. I think I'm trying to do a top 10 series that I've not tried a game from that has always interested me, or like kind of escaped me for whatever reason, either due to price, or I just never really seen it to pick it up, or I just kind of was out of gaming for a bit, because there was a few years there where I just kind of partied and worked.
Sure.
Went after girls and played guitar, that kind of stuff. Not like acoustic guitar to pick up girls, like the good guitar.
Keeping it real.
Yeah.
That metal shit.
Yeah. Bringing the right kind of girls around. So yeah, that's another one of my big goals. I think it'll be tied in with that video. And
Right on.
so yeah, it's going to be a good 2018. If it's anything like 2017, I'm sure there'll be an overwhelming amount of games coming out that you're like, I haven't even played last year's games.
Right. Yeah, there's still a lot that I need to catch up on from 2017.
The only silver lining to that is having so many games that you've only played a little bit or not played, is that it helps you wait on the new games until they're cheap.
It could help you wait on the new games.
Well, I mean, there's those games that you're like, I'm not waiting.
Oh, yeah,
second.
I gotcha.
But then there's like, oh, that looks so cool. Like Wolfenstein 2, for example, like you said,
yeah,
I got it for $30 instead of $80 Canadian. So good job, me, for not buying that instantly, knowing I wouldn't play it right away. But
yeah.
like there's a bunch of games like that, and for the most part, I've been pretty good. I'm at least getting if I am buying it right away, I'm getting some kind of deal. Like if I buy it within a month, I'm probably getting like usually the Amazon 20% off. But sure. That's something. That's something I'm looking forward to doing. Besides that, I think it's what time we wrap it up here. Eh?
Yeah. So real quick, I will mention that one of my big goals for the podcast for 2018 is to try to keep it a little bit shorter. We like to talk. I mean, we love video games. We have great conversations. We have a lot of fun doing this.
I hope people are listening to it.
We got a lot to say, but I think sometimes we can go a little bit long, a little bit off topic. So we're working on it. So bear with us. Let us know how we're doing. We always appreciate feedback. Of course, again, like I said, we appreciate your comments.
We'll definitely expect the guest ones to go longer. We'll try to keep the one-on-ones down. But I mean, first of the year, we got a cheat day.
Yeah,
and then we'll try to keep it down. We'll
we started out with a cheat day.
We need something like the Magic the Gathering thing when the matches go too long and the round's going to be over. I don't know if I guess you haven't played Magic, but
I played Magic.
Okay. Well, there's like when you're playing like a sanctioned thing, there's always like this thing that like countdown and plays the sound when it's like you've got 2 minutes left, and you're like, oh, better hurry up. So maybe we need a game related sound at like 1:10 to let us know there's only 5 minutes left till we have to shut up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I mean, for anybody who is listening, I'm sure you know how to reach us. But of course, you can find the podcast on SoundCloud. I upload it on YouTube. And then you can, of course, look us both up on Facebook, on YouTube. You can look me up on Twitter. Just search our names and you will find us.
If I can keep up with my Facebook and my YouTube as much as I intend to, legitimately intend to, genuinely intend to, I might open a Twitter related or like a Instagram or something. See if that helps anything out. We'll see.
Yeah, but, that's a whole nother beast.
I want to hear what everyone else's goals are for this year. That's a question I want to leave open.
Yeah, for sure.
Away.
Yeah,
what are everyone else's gaming goals and related goals for this year? I want to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we said, this is more than just us talking. This is a conversation with everybody. We wouldn't do this if we we're just talking to each other, because we can do that. We do that all the time, anyways.
Yeah, since it's a lot of memes.
Yeah,
well, there's a lot less memes in this podcast.
Yeah, that's for sure. But with that said, then I think that will do it for the first episode of 2018 of the Game Tenants Podcast. So
Happy New Year!
Absolutely. Thanks for listening. Let us know your thoughts, and we will talk to you next time.
See you later. Have a good one.
Peace.